Hey everyone, welcome back. And I'm going to be talking about the movie Divergent. Just to warn you, there will be spoilers in this rant, so if you're planning to watch the movie, which I don't recommend, or read the series, which I do recommend, then I strongly advise you don't listen to this rant. I just have so much to say about this, I don't even know where to start. I know, I'll start with this. I was disappointed, so disappointed. I was expecting a great movie based on the book series, but once the first trailer came out, I could even tell from the first trailer that this wouldn't be a very good movie. I was so excited I could finally see how good the movie was going to look, but once I saw the trailer, I'm thinking, is that it? This is the professional trailer made by professional movie creators? This is really the best they can do? I just saw the movie out of curiosity, but obviously it was just as bad as it looked. And in my opinion, the fan-made trailers look better than the real one, never mind the movie. Everything in the movie was wrong. The scenes, the acting, the way they presented the overall story. First, I'll talk about the characters, and I'll start off with Tris. She is originally this strong-minded girl, and she doesn't have a lot of self-confidence at first, but her self-confidence develops throughout the stories, and she's this deep character. She's trying to find a place for herself. Her personality and feelings are expressed very well in the book series. But in the movie, however, you hardly see any of her character. She hardly even shows half or even quarter the amount of emotion that she was supposed to have. They do show, basically all we see from her is that she's strong-minded and determined to fight. That's basically all we see. And she always has this look on her face like she has everything going good for her. She's not supposed to be like that. She's supposed to be more of a serious character. Her character just really wasn't expressed that well in the movies, and she wasn't deep. And see, this is the main character we're talking about, and the main character is supposed to be deepest. And if Tris wasn't deep, then this is really saying something about all this acting. I'll talk more about her later. And I'm going to move on to Christina. I wasn't too disappointed with the way her character is portrayed. She was still the way she was supposed to be, a curious, loudmouth, candor girl who had a lot of sympathy when it came to her friends. Actually liked the actor for her. They made her short for some reason, but I guess that's okay. And I think if her actor was given a chance, she would have shown more character. That's the thing, she wasn't given a chance. The movie shoved her into the background, made her more like a background character. She hardly gets any perspective. And well, I actually liked the way they portrayed her more than Tris. Her character was more built, like I said, and they just didn't show her a lot. But I'm sure if they had showed her more, she would have been great. And and now for Will. Will is pretty much the same as Christina. He's less loudmouth and more caring. And like Christina, they portrayed his character pretty well. Unlike, but he was also moved more into the background. I think even more into the background, more like he hardly said anything, and he was yeah, he was treated more like a background character. But I'm sure if he wasn't as downplayed, his actor would have been great for Will. And then there's Peter. I was so disappointed with Peter. He wasn't treated like the main villain he is. His character was really downplayed, having his crime scenes cut out. So basically, the only things he does are taunt people and beat up Tris when he's supposed to. I guess, yeah, he beat up Tris, but they were fighting. They were fighting for initiation. He was supposed to beat her up. And his character is really down. Like I said, his character is really downplayed. And I guess you could say that they still portrayed him as one of the people who tried to push Triss off the chasm, but we'll never know for sure because they didn't even show his face. I'll get back to that part later. To conclude, he's still mean, but he's not the villain we all love to hate. And where are Molly and Drew, Peter's sidekicks? Well, Molly was there, but she wasn't his sidekick. Or I think she was shown as a sidekick for like a couple of minutes, like they were talking or something, and later on she starts to like Triss? What? And they downplay a lot of parts of this movie. They downplay the part about Marcus being an abusive father to Tobias. Triss didn't yell at him or acknowledge her hate for him like she did in the book. Tobias didn't even have any reactions to seeing his abusive father, though I'll give Neil credit that it was nice at the end when Tobias decides to forgive his father and help him onto the train. It probably wasn't very realistic, but it doesn't have to be. It was still nice. And then there are the other characters. It's Triss's family, Tori, Eric, Tobias, Janine. They're okay, though neither of them have any depth or character, but then again, who does in this movie? Last but not least, Al. I would say that Al was my favorite character in the books. He was strong looking but weak willed. He constantly had bad things going for him. I liked to read about him and feel bad for him. Even at the end when he was part of Peter's plan to torture Triss and didn't even save her as Peter held her by the throat, I still couldn't help but love him. I know, I sound sick for saying that, but what can I say? I'm a sympathetic person. He had no one on his side. He was a troubled character. He was just a troubled character looking for a light to his life, and he constantly ruined it for himself. In the movie, Al hardly exists. This is how they showed him. He's shown for a few seconds in segments throughout the movie, saying a few lines. They cut out the heartbreaking part when he finds out that his chances of staying in initiation are low due to his low rank after stage 2. They also cut out the part about him having a crush on Triss. That was an important part. And we see his face for another few seconds when Triss pulls off his mask as she's trying not to fall into the chasm. He tries to apologize while not showing half the amount of emotion he showed in the books. Now he's dead. And why was there no funeral, I wonder? And where's the emotion risen from his committing suicide? They literally just said, Al committed suicide. Okay, the end, let's move on. One question, now for the chasm scene. One question, why were they wearing masks? I know you probably wanted to change it up a bit, and I can understand that. You didn't want to copy the book completely. But since they were wearing masks, we have no way of seeing that it was also Drew and Peter who were torturing and possibly trying to kill Triss. And that's an important part. The scene was wrong. There was no railing like there was supposed to be. That's an important part because that's when they hold her against the railing as they torture her, and she holds on to it once Peter, after holding her by the throat, drops into the chasm. Here's what happened. The masked defenders, whose identities we'll never know, try to push her over. A few seconds later, Triss pulls off Al's mask and sees his identity. 2 seconds later, Tobias comes in and beats up the offenders, rescuing Triss. The scene was too short, and you can see they took out the part about Peter beating up Triss before holding her over the chasm by the throat and letting go. And that was at least the most important part. That's when we really realize how evil Peter is, and Triss really starts to hate him. To conclude, all the characters have this in common: lack of depth and emotion. They are all just, if the acting isn't good, even if the acting is good, they're all just breezed over like, yeah, this is Triss, this is Christina, this happens, yeah. Not just the characters, every event is breezed over, like it just doesn't matter. And I'm going to talk more about Shailene Woodley. I do not like her for Triss. I think she would have been good for someone else, but I just don't see Triss in her. She's just wrong for Triss. Like I said, her expression doesn't match Triss's. She always has this look on her face like she has everything going good for her. And she's supposed to be this troubled character who's self-conscious about her looks, not this sexy character. I hope you're an offended shaming movie. Not this sexy girl who just has everything good going for her, and she just doesn't care about anything. And aside from her, and of course her looks didn't match Triss. She was pretty. Triss isn't supposed to be pretty, and they make Triss this happy-go-lucky teen pop star instead of the Triss we all love. And at the end, oh my god, I hate at the end when she said her line before defeating Janine. I forget the first part, but it ended with her saying, I'm Divergent. Like, that was it. She was smiling like, yeah, baby, like some Hollywood star. First of all, Triss is nothing like that, and secondly, the ending is not supposed to be like that, with the characters all happy-go-lucky, and with her kissing Tobias on the train, like, the rest doesn't matter, only this relationship does. At least I had this hot boy to make out with. The ending is supposed to be depressing, and the characters don't know what to do with themselves. I actually liked all the other actors. It was just hard to appreciate them from the way the movie was done. I'm sure if the characters had been portrayed better though, if they had gotten more lines maybe, they probably would have been great. Their looks matched and their personalities matched, except for Peter and Al, they weren't very good, but the rest were matched up pretty well. Neil Burke. Okay, enough about the characters and scenes. One question. Why is a girl from Abnegation wearing makeup? At the beginning of the movie, Triss is all prettied up with mascara, and Abnegation people are not supposed to be wearing makeup. They're supposed to be plain looking. What, are you so much of a Hollywood director that all women have to be beautiful? Is it really so much of a tragedy to have a main female character not look gorgeous? I can just see one of your writers running over to you with a book and saying, Neil, no, cancel Shailene Woodley's makeup appointment for her abnegation scene. She's not supposed to look like she's trying to be pretty. And you'd be saying, but this is Hollywood. People will complain if she doesn't look like a sex model. And here's a nitpick about the clothing. The women, why are the women, never mind. I'll skip that. It's not necessary. It's just about the fact that they were all wearing dresses. But you know what? That's not too serious. It did bother me though when the Aries were wearing tight, sexy blue skirts. It's like, seriously, why? They're not supposed to be sex figures. I'm going to talk about the scenes now. The scenes just looked wrong. They were nothing like the way I pictured them to be. It looked great at the beginning though, like when all the city and the houses for the abnegation and the apartments and the factions and their clothes. I'm thinking, yes, this is what it's supposed to be like. I'm so excited. Now here comes a rant. Well, first I'm going to say I like the factions clothes, except for the skirt issue with Erudite. I think he matched up the clothes very well. But anyway, here comes my rant. The place where the choosing ceremony was held was shown like a stadium, with bleachers and bright lights and people clapping like it's an exciting show. It just looked wrong. I always pictured the choosing ceremony to be a somber occasion, not some exciting thing with bright lights and clapping and a stage. It's supposed to be more of a serious event, a more somber event. And the pit. The pit was supposed to be a dark, scary place, and that's an important part because it's all about getting the Dauntless used to the dark and proving their fearlessness by traveling in the dark all the time. But in the movie, however, they made this bright, lit up place with music playing? Okay then. Speaking of music, the soundtrack does not belong in a story like Divergent. All the songs are kind of, I guess, light. Like they portray the movie, especially from the music, they portray the movie like some teen gossip story about teens socializing and frolicking around with boys and kissing. Those movies. Diversion is not supposed to be a light teen gossip story. It's anything but that. It's serious. The movie really ruined the book. And like I said, they really changed up the ending, which was really bad. It would have been a lot better if it wasn't for the part about Trish saying, "I'm divergent, baby." That just ruined it for me. I almost done one last thing. The guns. During the paintball scene, the guns shot out these sharp, spiky things. I guess they weren't supposed to be like that. They were supposed to be paintballs. And later on, when Trish shoots Peter, for some reason they were still using these weird spiky guns. And the gun she was using was supposed to be a real gun with bullets and blood. And they downplayed this scene where it's supposed to be a very long, serious scene with her finally getting her revenge on Peter. It only lasted like a few seconds, and they weren't even as serious as they were in the book. Okay, that's all I have to say. Leave any comments if you have any thoughts or if you agree with me.